This episode starts with Rarity talking in her sleep about pancakes. Maybe. She's awoken by smoke and obviously thinks that her house has caught on fire. She gets up in a hurry and runs downstairs, only to find that her sister Sweetie Belle is making breakfast. Or trying to. It's here we meet Rarity's parents. As you can clearly see just from appearances alone, they're totally different than her. While Rarity speaks in a posh accent I can't identify, her parents speak in a Minnesota accent, or whatever the equestrian equivalent is. Where Rarity has the same reaction to burnt pancakes, toast, and juice. They actually think it's good. And this is totally fan speculation, but Rarity's father might be an earth pony. Of course, he keeps his hat on at all times, so we never really can tell, but it is an interesting thought. Rarity agreed to watch Sweetie Belle for a week while her parents go on vacation. But Sweetie Belle is excited to spend some time with her sister, but Rarity is a bit nervous and hesitant. It's not that she doesn't like her little sister, it's just that she has a lot to do. Wait, they're doing this realistically? Well, you got my attention. As soon as Rarity's parents leaves, she decides to clean up, let's be totally honest here, Sweetie's mess. Of course, Sweetie doesn't see it as a mess, and she points out that neither of them have eaten yet. So Rarity decides to make a proper breakfast, and Sweetie is eager to help out. Considering Rarity is a bit hesitant. She says she wants to get things started first, and ends up cooking the whole meal without Sweetie's help, and Sweetie points it out. Rarity tells her that her job is to put the garnish on the plate, and Rarity is desperate to make sure she doesn't screw that up either. Under Rarity's command, Sweetie Belle messes up and launches the food into the air, and gets it to land perfectly on the floor. Was that a success or a failure? Rarity has been busy cleaning up the mess that Sweetie made earlier, and realizes that she's late for something. So she asks Sweetie to take some dirty towels down to the laundry room. Sweetie is once again eager to help, and down there she spies a sweater, giving her the idea to wash all of the clothes. Unfortunately, the sweater is rare, expensive, and dry clean only. Rarity is starting to get understandably angry. By the way, this is how you correctly have one character propagate a problem. Unlike Pinky and Luna Eclipsed who just wanted to have fun at another's expense, Sweetie Belle is genuinely trying to help. The problem is that she simply isn't any good at it. And so Rarity asks her to stay out of trouble. Sweetie tries to stay out of trouble by doing this. What the hell is she doing? It's apparent that she's incredibly bored and waiting for her sister to finish. I guess Apple Bloom and Scootaloo are busy or something. Sweetie then sees some crayons and papers and believes that she never got in trouble for drawing. So she gets to work drawing a picture, but it isn't long before she realizes that she needs something a little more than crayons. Sometime later, Rarity enters the room and freaks out. Those particular gems were extremely rare, and Rarity needed them for an extremely important client. Now Rarity has to go into town in order to find some more, and Sweetie wants to help again. But Rarity clearly has had enough help for one day. Give Rarity some credit. After she's done flipping out, she retains her cool and calmly tells Sweetie to put the art supplies away exactly as she found them. Sweetie is starting to question her usefulness until she stumbles upon a room that seems to be a disaster area. So she gets the idea to clean it up for Rarity. We all know that it's not going to work out as planned. Rarity comes home and finds out that the room was cleaned and Sweetie Belle was behind it all. And Rarity freaks out.
This wasn't a mess! It was organized chaos!
Yes, that is a real thing that artists use for inspiration or to keep things close, etc. Now Rarity is really angry, and she scolds Sweetie Belle, filling in our nightmare fuel quota for the episode. Finally, Rarity is on the verge of flipping out, but actually manages to keep her cool once again, simply saying that she needs some time alone. So Sweetie walks about the town and comes across a poster being held by Apple Bloom. Sweetie tells Apple Bloom that she wishes that she and Rarity could do something together, but she's tired of goofing things up. Apple Bloom suggests the Sisterhooves social. Apparently, Applejack and her do it every year, and Sweetie loves the idea. Rarity does not. The contest is being held at Sweet Apple Acres, and according to Rarity, it doesn't sound very clean. I've heard worse excuses. Actually, Sweetie calls her out for that. They have not an argument, a disagreement. Sweetie wants them to go, and Rarity doesn't want to go, and it ends like this.
Then maybe I'll try the Sisterhooves social without a sister. In fact, I think I'll try the rest of my life without a sister.
Now it's an argument, which leads them to the conclusion that they'd both be better off without a sister. Wow. Just wow. Sweetie decides to mope around Sweet Apple Acres just talking to Applejack and Apple Bloom. It's there she begins seeing how great Applejack and Apple Bloom are getting along when she gets invited to help them set up the Sisterhooves social. Of course, Sweetie is still afraid of messing things up, but the two of them make chores look so fun that she can't help but join in. Then she gets a rotten apple on her horn. We cut back to Rarity, who's spending some time roaming around her room, and she realizes that the room is easier to navigate when it's clean, and she's able to find inspiration anyway. She realizes that if Sweetie Belle hadn't cleaned up the room, then she wouldn't have been inspired like this, but she's still a little bit grumpy about all the chaos earlier in the day. Back to Sweetie Belle. Apple Bloom is making some grape juice on an apple orchard when Sweetie Belle starts going on and on about how Rarity would never let messy stuff like grape juice anywhere near her stuff. Then Apple Bloom accidentally gets some grape juice on Applejack, and Sweetie pleads Applejack not to get mad. Applejack responds by attacking Apple Bloom. Just kidding. They begin roughhousing in the grape juice crusher. Meanwhile, Rarity is taking the clothes she designed to the washroom, and she sees the sweater that Sweetie ruined, and steps on Opal's tail. It's there she realizes the sweater could work for her cat. Yes, Rarity is learning that what Sweetie did wasn't really the end of the world. Of course, now Rarity's in that awkward place when you're trying to be mad at someone, but you can't really be mad at them. Meanwhile, again, Apple Bloom and Applejack are herding sheep, and Sweetie Belle sees how in sync the two of them are. Sweetie Belle starts thinking about how many times Rarity has let her down. Speaking of which, yes, the back and forth can get a little annoying, but it works for the effect they're going for. Rarity is making a dress with the gems she bought, but when she realizes that she's out, she goes looking for Sweetie's arts and craft project, and then she finds this. Rarity realizes that she's kinda screwed up. Melodramatically, of course. It eventually ends with her deciding that she needs to get her sister back. Rarity finds Sweetie Belle making marshmallows with Apple Bloom and Applejack. Unfortunately, Sweetie is still upset with her sister, or as she calls her unsister. Rarity apologizes, but as we learn, saying sorry doesn't always solve the problem. I know that's not the lesson this episode is trying to teach, but it's a good side moral. Sweetie admits that she's not better off without a sister. Apple Bloom made her realize that, and so she adopts Applejack as her new big sister. This is a surprise to Applejack as much as it is to Rarity and Apple Bloom. Sweetie then suggests that Applejack should be Rarity's sister, and teach her how to be a good sister. Wow, that hurts from here. Of course, Rarity might need the lessons. Sweetie isn't letting Rarity off the hook for this one until she learns her lesson.
We're still sisters, right?
Okay, that was pretty funny. Rarity seems to be taking at least part of what Sweetie said to heart and begins asking why Applejack made her look so bad. Applejack tells her that being sisters, or siblings in general, is about give and take. There's some metaphor about apple pie that's definitely a good metaphor, I just wish they used another one. Remember when I said that I thought they were putting in lines that could be taken out of context easily on purpose? Ask yourself what a shipping between Applejack and Pinkie Pie would be called. Like I said, someone on the staff is doing this on purpose. And the shipping thoughts get Rarity to realize what she has to do. The next day is the Sisterhooves social. Applejack, Apple Bloom, and Sweetie Belle are there, and Sweetie is looking pretty forlorn. She's still incredibly disappointed in her sister, unsister, and keeps complaining about her. Then, completely out of the blue, Apple Bloom lets Applejack borrow her sister, which sets Sweetie's world on fire. The two of them get ready to run in the big race. Shortly after the race begins, Applejack falls into some mud and comes out covered in the stuff, and she has contacts in now. Yeah, I don't think I'm spoiling anything when I say that it's Rarity there, proving she's a good sister, helping Sweetie Belle throughout the whole event, getting down and dirty the whole way. They don't win, though, and you know what? That's another really smart decision to top off every smart decision made throughout this whole episode. It's basically adding another message that winning isn't important as long as you're having fun with those you care about. Sweetie knocks off the hat to learn that it's Rarity in disguise, and Applejack was holding her breath the entire time. So after the spa, Spike writes, "Hey, I just realized there was no Twilight at all in this episode. Gives me kind of an empty feeling, you know? Sort of makes me feel sorry for all the things I said about her last season." Anyway, the moral is amazing. It's episodes like this that make the show what it is. This is one of the episodes that actually impressed me. Let's start with the obvious. They actually portrayed siblings realistically. Is anyone else kind of bummed that that can be considered refreshing? I mean, in every other show, they're either portrayed as the worst of enemies or constant antagonists. Yes, there's Gravity Falls, but this did it first, and don't hate me for this, but this episode did it better. Don't get me wrong here. I love a good Party of One style episode as much as the next guy, but personally, I'd prefer more episodes like this. I mean, any cartoon can make me laugh, but it's only those very rare ones that can actually make me care. And that seems to be what Cindy Morrow is good at. Yes, Cindy Morrow wrote this episode. You know, the one who wrote All's Well That Ends Well and the Showstoppers? The difference in quality is staggering. She's definitely the most confusing writer for me. I mean, her talent is clearly connection and emotional depth, but she rarely seems to use it, preferring to go with humor, which, I have to be honest, is her weak point. But like I said, not every episode needs to be funny. You can easily get a gold without it.